And maybe I told you in one of my discourses, in the past maybe, that a coconut has 7 layers. A coconut has 7 layers. You see, all your energies goes outside. So the most essential things does not come into your grasp. No? So it represents breaking of the ego. Now, by breaking the coconut, your ego won't break. So it means leaving the first stage, the second, and the fourth. It's at the 4th level that the ego is. The fourth body, the mental body, that is of the ego. So everything, if you try to work only on your anger, your greed, your hatred, your lust, and it will be as if you are putting the ox behind and the cart in front. The only thing that you can do, you can follow it. Okay, you follow it. Okay, that's good. But it should lead you to the very root. And the root is what you call the I. That is of the ego. Now, I'm going to take a rest here, give you the opportunity to ask any question in relation to that subject. If you don't have, then we'll go into some meditation. Yes. I thought you were asking a question. Okay, anyone? When I say ask a question, it's good that you understand. I'm just sharing that with you. Your question, it should not be something that you've taken from books, you heard from there. If you ask me, maybe I'll answer. But if you ask a question that comes from your experience, then that will help you much more. Because there are some people, they're fond of asking questions. Spirituality is not philosophy. If you ask questions like in philosophy, and you are expecting to make a mind game, then you lose your time and that of the masters. The master, sooner or later, he will recuperate his energy, he will get back his energy, no problem. But in your case, you've missed something essential. That should mean that you shouldn't ask any question. Yes?
Is it possible to use anger and jealousy and things like that, but use that energy for good in the meditation?
But that's why what I said in the beginning. You have, as you become more aware, those energies are transformed. And when they are transformed, just like the Kundalini, which is the sexual energy, transformed, all your moods, all your thoughts, all your emotions can be transformed. Because what is anger? It is an energy. What is jealousy? It is an energy. So when you become aware of it, it gets transformed. It's just like I give you ice, you give it heat and it becomes water. You give it heat, it becomes vapor. And you give it heat, it becomes energy and all things like that. So that's why I say you use whatever you are given to transform. That's why there's nothing to reject. But the approach for the different branches is different. Like for example, when you practice Tantra, Tantra will say, let your anger come. Don't stop your anger. But be fully attentive at each step. Then you will transform your anger. Tantra will say, don't stop your sexuality. Don't suppress it. Go into your sexuality. But please go. Each step that you take, do it so intensely that one day you realize that you no longer need sex. But yoga will say, if you have anger, don't express it. It's a sort of suppression. In spirituality, you do also have a certain aspect where you have suppressed. But it's a suppression with awareness. Normally people suppress, but unconsciously. So there is no change. But when you suppress with awareness, then it transforms. It gets transformed. Your anger, your greed. You're absolutely right. That's why I've been saying in the beginning, use yourself as you are, all the energies to get transformed.
Should you just leave it and die?
Good. Now, what I understand from what you're saying is that you reach a point in your meditation, you feel as if you're going to explode, you're going to disappear, to die. Now, this happened to all the seekers, to all the seekers, to all disciples, to everyone. And it is at this precise moment that they back off. Because as I told you, that is the ultimate death. and you really, it's as if your individuality disappears. In fact, it doesn't disappear. It is so transformed, it becomes so vast, it becomes so big that as if you are not. You are there. But it's so subtle, and you have been used to live very constricted, very limited, very gross. And when you reach that state, you feel you're not going to go any further. But that happens. And at this point, many seekers, many disciples have spent lives, not months, not years, lives and staying to that state. But if you have a master and you cooperate with him, you surrender, then one day he pushes you. You have to cooperate with him. If you cooperate with him, because you know the ego, you cannot do it all by yourself, alone. Now that is another way of saying things. That's why you need a master. Otherwise, why you need a master? To practice any technique, you don't need a master. You can read my book, you can read the books of Osho, where it is so well explained. You can read methods, for so many sources. There are so many methods. If you go to the books of yoga, there are so many methods. You don't need any master, any teacher to you. You can do it. If you read, you understand it, you can do it. No problem. Discipline of eating, doing all the things, keeping the middle path, you don't need any master. It's simply that you're lazy, you've gone very far away. But the whole thing is you cannot drop the ego. A great amount of the work will be done by yourself. And that too, with what we call the blessing, the grace of the master. Because all by yourself, you won't meditate. Otherwise, many people would be start meditating anywhere in the world. It's not like this. It's the master that acts as a catalyst. He gives you the desire, by what he says, by his presence, by shaking you, by cajoling you at times, by becoming friendly and all the things, acting like a father, at times like a mother, and all the things. He pushes you little by little. But then you reach a point when he comes, there's a fish there, and gives you a push, and it's finished. But that happens. If you are following a master, if you started meditating, whether today or tomorrow, it could take you many, many, many incarnations, millions of years, but one day it will happen. And this is how it is. But I'm using the word death. Probably later on when masters come, they will use another word, but I don't see any better word now. I use the word transformation. I use the word death. But from my position, I see that both words are important. So it's important so that you understand that you shouldn't resist. Because if you resist, you're free to resist. You're free not to follow any master. It's good that you understand that. You say, I will go on my own. But for your kind information, that's nearly impossible, although there could be some exception. You're absolutely free not to follow anyone. You move here and there, you collect knowledge, you collect methods, and you go on your own, and finally you are absolutely confused. But it could happen also that suddenly you become enlightened. That is possible. These are rare cases. Now, to give you an idea, Jesus, Krishna, Rama, all these masters have had a master. Even Buddha was helped by many people. Krishnamurti alone, only Osho, he worked alone, and he himself said in a former incarnation he worked with a few masters. In the past, the people would work with a few masters, but generally you work with one master. So that's how it is. So the master gives you a push, and he just, that's why what we call a quantum leap. He just pushes you, and wow, and it happens.
Sorry again, but if this situation happens,
when the situation, what we do. Now, as I told you, the question that you asked me means that you're not ready to give up. Because if you were ready, you would say, okay, I let go. But I understand your question. I don't say that your question is baseless. Is that happened? All the disciples, many people, you remember the one day when we went in a bungalow in the north, I was transmitting energy and you were, so that was a kind of resistance. Your ego was resisting. You were not ready for that. The energy was so powerful. There were a few disciples, and he was like, and he's very receptive. But even then, he was holding. So I said, let go, let go. But he was not able to bear it. And I was afraid that something happened, one of his nerves. So I said, move him from me away, So what happens is that, of course, you have to let go. Meditation is a total let go. I tell you my experience. Once I was, after I had meditated very deeply at night, I slept. When you sleep, your body is totally relaxed. And when you meditate, you are a meditator, you are much more relaxed. And meditation is a very profound relaxation, not the relaxation that people talk. And in the middle of the night, I was expanding in all direction. And you know what happened? I shouted, I say, Ma! In the morning, my mother asked me, what happened to you last night? I said, maybe I had a nightmare, something like that. I couldn't tell him because she wouldn't understand. So maybe that was one of the experiences I had. And even now, when I'm asleep, once you attain cosmic consciousness, then you come back. But when you come back, you're no more the same. You exist as as a wave in an infinite ocean. That is clear. It's different. And from then onward, you stay constantly into the meditative state. At times, it is a deeper meditation. At times, it is samadhi. You go deeper, you become one with existence of God. So even now, at times, when the kundalini goes up, I feel a sort of shock. Suppose I'm speaking to you now, I'm relaxed, I'm okay. But since I'm living in a physical body, I'm working with you people, I have to descend to a lower level. So there are all the karmas, there is still some impurities, but impurities in inverted comma, little. So that's why when the energy at times, a little shock, it does happen. So it's absolutely normal. So the fear is human, is absolutely human. So of course you have to let go. I was just telling somebody, I think yesterday we were discussing, once during my other session of meditation, the satsang, as we call it in Mauritius in Hindi, satsang. Satsang means to be in the presence of a master, not just satsang, just like these people just meet, no. To be in the presence of an enlightened being. So what we do the Shakti part. Shakti part means transmission of energy. Now I'm speaking to you, the energy is being transmitted, but there are different aspects, there are different levels of energy transmission. Just like you love somebody, there is a kissing, there is a caressing, the foreplay, and then ultimately there is a penetration of all the things. So it's approximate, just an analogy, just to give you an idea. So in spirituality, there is what you call Shakti part, transfer energy, and there is something that calls grace. I will come to that eventually. So I was transmitting energy. I was calling people one by one. I invited only those who feel they can come and open themselves. Maybe most people come, I do not remember. One guy came, I teased him. I teased him to enlighten him, to make him understand a certain truth. I asked him, he practiced the path of devotion. So I asked him, in what way you pray God, you love God, in what way you love God, the most, the forms to which you're most attracted. He told me, Shiva. Shiva is one of the god of the trinities, in Hindu trinities. The other two being Vishnu and Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Mahesh the destroyer. So I asked him, now suppose Shiva comes to you and asks you, I've come, I'm going to take you away. Will you go with him? He said, no. I said, why? He is God. His bliss, his peace, it's so beautiful with God. You become one, you will free from all this trouble, and you will be completely okay. He said, I have two children, they are doing the CP. In Mauritius, we call it the CP. I have so many things to, I love them very much too. I'm afraid. I said, that's a strange kind of love. Then I told him, if death comes, do you think he's going to ask you that question I'm asking you? He will just take you away. And death happens at any time. So, whether you are afraid or you're not afraid, one day it will happen. So, if you don't resist, if it happens easily, or if you want to resist, that's your choice. It's not evil to resist when it is happening. It's not evil. It's simply that you are saying to yourself, I'm going to delay my enlightenment. But one thing, the more you delay your enlightenment, the more you will suffer. And if you are working with a master, if he sees that you are taking too much time, he won't have that much patience. Because I'm not sure right here now, any one of you understand the patience, the love, the compassion, the sacrifice that a master does to be with you. I'm not sure you understand that. Because the day you understand that, you will do exactly as he tells you. That is the meaning of compassion. But if he sees You're not cooperating, you say, okay, I leave you, you take your time, when you decide, then you come to me.